Well, there has not been a lot of discussion so far this cycle about Senate seats that Democrats could potentially flip. A lot of the fears are about it going the other way. There are two Democrats that are looking at, in that regard, is Florida and Ted Cruz's Senate seat. So basically, here is an opportunity, an opening. We'll talk about some potential other polls and all that. But with Ted Cruz, you're telling me there's a chance? We've got some polls.
A storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
So I first want to start off with criticism of the Ted Cruz campaign coming from perhaps an unexpected source. And that would be one of Donald Trump's senior advisors, Laura Loomer. I'm kidding. Chris Lasavita tweeted this. What the hell is wrong with the Senate race in Texas? I think I know, ... And I think I know his name, ... Time to get some real professionals in to save Ted Cruz. That is, if you're a full grown man, please don't do that. Don't tweet like that. That's super weird, especially when you find out what this is about. But just right off the bat, it's super weird. But anyway, so what has prompted his concern or whatever? So you have, let's see, two new surveys. So Collin Allred, the Democratic contender to Ted Cruz, is within the margin of error in these. So you have Emerson College, The Hill. Allred was 4 points behind. University of Houston, Texas Southern University survey late last month found 2 points between the rivals. So if you take a look at the all of the polls that have come out recently, it doesn't necessarily look as good. And so on average, Cruz has a 6-point lead. But depending on who you talk to, like if you go back far enough to late last year, he's up by 16. There's a couple of, University of Texas for some reason is very pro Cruz. And I went to the University of Texas and I have no added context for that polling. But anyway, there are some where it's relatively close. And I don't want to tell you to get excited, because I know that if you've been paying attention to Texas politics for a number of cycles, it keeps looking like maybe it could flip. Beto got within, I think, 2 points the last time around, and occasionally it does look like things are trending in that direction. But I do want everyone to remember that not only are things like, people assume that demographics are destiny or whatever. That's not necessarily the case. But I also want you to remember that they have passed legislation to clamp down as much as possible on registration and voting. They are worried about Texas flipping blue, and they have taken legislative precautions to make sure that that is less likely to happen. And so just something to bear in mind as you're analyzing this. I see someone in the chat saying, kind of like John thought Texas would flip blue in 2020. I don't know if I said that it would flip blue. I think it might have been possible. Oh, did I? I did not put it on my election map. That's not, no, I couldn't have. That would make me look like such a doof. But nobody fact checked that. Nobody fact checked that. But anyway, it could happen. It could happen. And I have behind the scenes, I have heard some criticism of the Allred campaign from people who would know. I don't have any firsthand knowledge about that. But what I would say is, if you're Collin Allred, don't leave anything in the tank. Get out there and campaign, do multiple events a day, because not only would it be amazing to flip Texas just objectively, but in particular, it would also really help the Democrats to keep control of the Senate. But also, it would be so great to get rid of Ted Cruz. I mean, I know it would be kind of like, I don't know, a Pyrrhic victory, I guess. That's not the right analogy, because I don't know that he would even necessarily care. I think that he would love to devote himself to his first love, which is awkward interactions with his wife and family. I'm kidding, podcasting. I think that he'd be perfectly happy to just podcast and talk about women that he thinks look sexy in leather. But it would be great to get him out of office. And not only because he's bad, but because he has done things that merit removal. And it would be awesome for cause and effect to function in a rational fashion. And so we're gonna keep looking at this. We don't know for sure that it will flip, but it is at least possible. And I also wanna say the other Democrat that I alluded to in the intro is Rick Scott in Florida, the incumbent, being challenged by Debbie McCarcel-Powell. Apparently, Emerson polls found the Senate race in a dead heat and showed former President Trump up 5 points in the presidential race. Both parts of that are interesting. Now, we need far more polls, obviously. One poll isn't any sort of guarantee, but flipping that would be great. And then also the idea that maybe presidential Florida politics, I mean, it's super hard. They've also clamped down on voting too. But it shows that if we can build up some steam, it may not happen this election, but maybe the next one. Just something to look forward to. Members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.